Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Jay and welcome to the channel and welcome to October Lake in Planet Zoo, a project where we're aiming to build a really large wildlife park situated in the Canadian Highlands. And as of this episode, I can safely say we've done a pretty good job. As you can see, this is the park as a whole, and you may notice we are in a live play, which is quite unusual. We often do speed builds, and this was meant to be a speed build episode for the American alligator habitat, but unfortunately, something happened to all the footage. Like, I recorded the whole thing, but when I was looking at it, it was just flickering in and out of like my desktop and my thing, and I figured out what the problem was, but I just didn't expect it, and so I lost all the footage, unfortunately. But I thought it would be a good opportunity for us to actually do a live play session, have a look at some of what's going on. We're not going to do a tour of the whole park or anything like that. We're going to focus on the habitat we've just built, but you know, be a little bit different, change things up once in a while. And it has been a while since we've been in Planet Zoo because of Jurassic World Evolution 2 and all that. So I thought it'd be nice to, you know, change things up a little bit and yeah. Ignore the frame rate issues. The park is getting quite large, so the frame rate is going to drop somewhat. So I'm going to try not to move an awful lot. But this is of course our new habitat here. It's an American alligator habitat, and it's quite close to where the cougar habitat was. That was just over here. And what I did is we went up a little bit up on this cliff, and I built this really long habitat which is actually connected to the saltwater crocodile habitat just up there. Now, I actually intended to build a prairie dog habitat, a very small prairie dog habitat just over here, but then I realized we actually had quite a bit more space than I thought, and because of that, we actually managed to build pretty much a good sized alligator habitat here next to the crocodile habitat. And while we're doing all this, actually, while we're talking, I'm going to pause the game so we have slightly smoother frame rate. Oh, that's so much better. But as you can see, it's quite a unique habitat, I think, because it's a cliff top habitat. And let me just change the lighting somewhat. It always defaults to slightly weird lighting. But there we go, and I think it looks really nice, and it's very unique, I think. So this is the tropical house. Down here we have the Nyala, which are somewhere, there they are. And yeah, directly above is this crocodile, this alligator habitat. Excuse me, I'm going to keep saying crocodile by accident because I was thinking of the saltwater crocodile, which is just here. And I thought because we could fit an alligator habitat in here, it links so well with the saltwater crocodile habitat just up here. I think it just works really, really nicely that they link up so well. This entire area here with the cougar and the American alligators, and in fact, this starting area with the otters is one of the few parts of the zoo that is not actually on that 15-degree angle. So, like I mentioned before, almost every single pathway on the zoo, every building and everything, is on a 15-degree angle of some description. As you can see really clearly with the African section, everything's on a perfect like angle here. But yeah, with this section up here, I don't know where I went wrong, somewhere along the way, and I think it's probably to do with this curve area down here. I completely lost that angle, maybe even this little bit here, but somewhere along the way I lost the angle. And up here, while this area is like, you know, these parts and all on 15-degree angles, it doesn't connect back to the main one in that perfect angle, which is fine, I don't mind. I was just hoping I could maintain the whole thing, but it's all good. So yeah, you can go up here. I haven't added the slightly more accessible route. Currently it is somewhat accessible. You can come up here, there's a lift system, well, a pseudo lift system, of course, we don't have lifts in the game, and there's a lift over here as well, so that people can access the different elevations of the habitat and go in. But I'll have to figure out something over here. I'm thinking if I can make a ramp that kind of goes across this cliffside, that would be quite useful, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, you can come up here, and then immediately you turn to the right, and you can see our little very cute alligator sign up here. I find that very funny that it's just a tiny little alligator. There's some stairs, but if I'm not mistaken, if you wanted to access this right now, there's a lift on this side, which you can get to via the crocodile section over there. But I will try and get a ramp in place here, so I think we can probably get a ramp in place here. It seems like it's there's enough space to get a really nice long shallow gradient, so we'll see whether we can do something about that. But for now, you go up here and you go into this interior area, And in here you can see the alligator habitat. Very similar to the saltwater crocodile habitat, very long and narrow, but with a lot of nice underwater area. There you go, you can actually see one of the alligators. I'm just going to play for a while. Again, excuse the, oh god, that frame rate is horrible. It usually does recover after a while once the game loads in everything, because usually when I boot up the game, it needs to I think it needs to figure out all the animals' traversable areas and stuff, so for a while the frame rate is a bit horrendous, but it does get better as we go on. And yeah, the alligators look fantastic. Really some of the best animals in the game, and if I'm not mistaken, in my tier list the other day I put the American alligators right up at the top because they're so fantastic. Let's actually have a closer look at these guys. And I'm going to pause again because then we can really have a look at them quite clearly. But oh my gosh, that is a beautiful animal. Stunning. Look at the detail on the scales and the colors, the blue, the purple, the green, and the little striping and the just fantastic alligator right there. And once you get to the end, actually, we're between the balls. Once we get to the end here, there's again this pseudo lift area. I imagine you go to here, you turn to the left, and there's a lift, and it takes you up here, and you exit, and you can come out here and look at the animals from above, which I really like. We have these nice canopies, which I just modified from the crocodile ones. Over there's a staff building, and you can see all the alligators from above here. There's a mud pit for them over there. There's a decent amount of land space here. I might need to fix this up so that they have something that makes it a bit more evident they can't cross over here. They can't right now, just because they have, they're quite short animals in terms of verticality, I suppose. So they can't actually climb over there. But otherwise, I'm really pleased with how this habitat turns out. I really like it. It's very much more temperate than the saltwater crocodile habitat. As you can see here, there's a lot more bamboo and these it has a slightly more tropical vibe. Not by a lot, but just slightly because of the bamboo. But here it feels a lot more temperate, and I really like how it looks. Yeah, it just works out pretty well. And we have 2 female alligators and 1 male in here. There's the male over here, much larger than the other 2. And it was a bit tricky to get the traversable area right because of the male, because he's quite a bit larger. He requires more space. Yeah, let's play again for a bit, and let's see how much area he can actually traverse. Yeah, just about that much, which is not ideal because he's missing a bit of space here. But for the females, I believe they can traverse most of the habitat. Yep, that's fine. So they really do have as much as they need. Of course, playing in sandbox, you can just turn off all they need, so it's so much easier to handle this. Yeah, as you can see, the frame rate's improving a decent amount. It's not great still, but it's better than it was before, and we can just watch the alligators do their thing for a little bit. Really, I cannot commend Frontier enough for this design. It is really stunning. And yeah, we got the male over here. I don't really know whether they can use these. It's listed as enrichment for them, but I haven't seen them use these platforms yet, so I don't know. I wonder what they'll even do with them. Will they pop out that hole in the middle? That would be strange. Be cool to watch though. But yeah, while we're doing this, let's talk a little bit about American alligators. So I'm just gonna plop the camera in a nice little spot here so we can watch them for a bit. Yeah, with some leaves in the corner. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so we'll just plop this here for a bit. I'll talk a bit about American alligators because they're very cool animals. Of course, if you want to differentiate them from crocodiles, look at their snout. The easiest way to tell is, of course, alligators have a much more U-shaped, broad snout. Crocodiles have a much more narrow, kind of V-shaped snout. That's a pretty easy way to tell. Coloration-wise, alligators are going to be a lot darker usually. There's only 2 types of alligators out there. The American alligators, which are these ones, and the Chinese alligators. And they actually split off from crocodiles about 65 to 100 million years ago. That's the late Cretaceous. So a long time ago, they split off from crocodiles when, Tyrannosaurus was still the apex predator around, so a long time ago. And back then you of course had some really crazy crocodiles and alligators too, there was Deinosuchus, which was a giant alligator. Well, I would say alligatory form, it's probably not exactly the same thing, but and and they're just very unique animals. They are of course known to exist quite a wide range around the US, but primarily the southern bits. So things like Florida of course are very known for their alligators, and in the Florida Everglades, where there's loads of invasive species, these alligators have actually become a form of population control. They tend to hunt a lot of these invasive species. And I remember there used to be all these like crazy news articles where they'd find like reticulated pythons locked into like death battles with these alligators, which were just bonkers at the time, you know. It just made me like think of the Florida Everglades as this crazy place full of giant reptiles, and I mean it kind of is, so I would still love to visit it. It just sounds like an amazing place. They've been seen to predate even on things like Florida panthers, which are not that dissimilar from the cougar we were talking about the other day. In fact, they are an isolated subspecies. So it's kind of cool that we have them in the same location-ish in the zoo. It's nice to see both of them nearby. But yeah, super fascinating animals. Yeah, I haven't seen very many alligators in real life. I don't tend to see them in zoos like back where I used to live. And also, I haven't seen them in many zoos here in the UK. Though I believe if there's a place called Crocodiles of the World, which I'd like to visit. It's the UK's only crocodile zoo, I believe. Which is interesting that they managed to have an entire zoo just for crocodilians, so I'd love to check that place out. But yeah, I'd love to see more American alligators in real life, or just alligators. Like I said, there's only two types of alligators, and they're not actually that, like I said, not closely related to crocodiles, but they are a bit more closely related to caiman. And of course, we actually do have caiman in the zoo. We have some just down here, behind the lemur habitat. So if we pause just so we have a little bit more thing, we can actually revisit the caiman habitat from, well, over a year ago, I think. And there we go, a little dwarf caiman just chilling here. And your cousin is just up here. Oh, I say cousin, they also split a long time ago, but definitely a lot more closely related than crocodiles and gharials. But yeah, I really like these animals. I'm glad to have them in the zoo. And while we're here, and I hope you did enjoy learning a little bit about alligators. They're very interesting animals, I think, and I always just love having more crocodilians. Now we have at least one representative of each of the major crocodilian groups. The only others I can think of that I would love to have are some false gharials. We don't have those. But otherwise, really glad to have these. And they look so good. Just, love those colors. I also follow a lot of reptile YouTube channels because I have, like, I'm a big fan of reptiles. I, in fact, got my first pet reptile recently. He's a little ball python named Ike. He's beautiful, and I can't wait to show him on the channel. But if you want to see pictures of him, go check out my Twitter and the link below. But that's a bit of a tangent. But basically, I follow a lot of reptile YouTube channels, and one of them is the channel called Snake Discovery. And over there, Emily, who runs the channel, and Ed, they both have a rescued American alligator who was like quite badly treated before, but they've rescued her, and her name is Rex, and she's like the cutest thing in the world. And her growth was stunted a little bit, so she is quite small, but she is the cutest thing, and I would recommend checking out some of their videos because it is so interesting seeing an American alligator and their behaviors and stuff like that in a much more up close setting like that. It's just really cool. So it was one of those really nice little things. So yeah, check that out if you want to see a very cute rescued American alligator. Now, while we're here, let's talk a little bit about what's going to happen with the park, because I'm not going to go on a full tour or anything, but we can have a bit of an overview of what's going on. And I'm just going to pause so we have a bit more frame rate here. So as you can see, our park is really coming along, and I'm very proud of how we've done this. It's been over a year in the making now, which is crazy to think about. And I think we're going to get a new update soon as well. And I do not think we have the space for a new update. But then again, I said that for the North American pack, and somehow we've managed to squeeze in at least 4 of those animals. So, you know, maybe we'll find space for that as well. But I don't know. I feel like we're getting close to wrapping things up, and I've said that for a few episodes now. A few things I want to do. I want to get up here and build a little watchtower of some description, and a bit of a small hiking trail that goes right up and down this side of the mountain. Over here we have a little bit of space to work with, not much. I I would like to include one or two more of the North American species if I can. The prairie dogs were very much my intention. I never thought I'd include the alligators. I was going to put in the prairie dogs here, but the alligators fit just a little bit better. I could even put in a little prairie dog habitat here with these with this little empty space here. Or even like, you know, just find some space here as well. This is an empty spot. And I always talked about making a new entrance for October Lake somewhere here. So we might do that in the future. As you can see, this entire area is still quite unfinished, and I started this like ages ago, back when we were working on the the Southeast Asian animals, and we just haven't finished it for quite some time. So we'll have to see how that goes. What I think I might do is actually have, you see this empty spaces here. I might put a few exhibit animals here with like some canopies and stuff, and so have like there be animals that people can look at as they're going down these ramps from both sides. So I think that'll work pretty well. Now up here, I think this will be more of a guest area, some shops and things like that, because we don't have that many of those. There's actually some space up here in this area to work with, so maybe 1 or 2 more habitats there. In the back, let's see where the barrier of the zoo is. So you can see the barrier here. And this entire section of mountain is technically buildable, like this whole chunk here. So if we really want to keep going, we could essentially tear down this mountain a little bit, make it all flat to a certain level, maybe about there, and we would have this big square of space to work with. Let's zoom in on it. So we'd have this much space, which is a lot of space. So, you know, if we really want to keep going, we could. And I kind of want to keep going. I'm still aiming to finish this at episode 50. It's currently episode 42, I believe. I would love to finish this at episode 50, but we'll really have to see how it goes. No promises, because I might keep going. I never know when to stop. And then, of course, I'd love to start a new project as well in Planet Zoo, because I can see the future of this game being really bright. You know, like I can really, I don't know, I've got nothing, like no backing to it, but I would love to see more support for this game going forward. And I know people have been talking about there being more DLCs for at least another year, and I really hope that's the case. I don't know, I don't have any insider information or anything, but another like 4 DLCs, oh, that would be fantastic. And this is the sort of game I think you could support for such a long time, because you just have to drop another like 4 animals every once in a while, and I'd be more than happy with that, you know? And there's plenty of animals I'm very much like hoping are still going to make it in the game. Capybaras, oh, that would be the best. I would love capybaras. You know, things like that. Like I think I talked about this before. The game needs more small, fuzzy, brown animals. I don't know why. I think it's just that in the past few packs, I always wanted like that specific type of animal, and for some reason, like the South America pack, I wanted a capybara. It never showed up. You know, like that sort of thing. So maybe more of those. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, October Lake is really. Yeah, I'm proud of it. Look at that. Like, I am genuinely so proud of what we've done here. It has been an undertaking that's taken such a long time. And I always thought my, like, long-term, like, passion project was going to be my previous zoo, Sanakov Land. But it ended up being this. It ended up being October Lake, which was really just meant to be a project to kind of pass the time and get me back into the game. And look at it now. I am just very proud of it. And I hope all of you have enjoyed following along with it. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. Even if it's episode 50, that means we still have at least 2-3 months of work to do on this part, because I do an episode every week. And if we keep going, then who knows? We could end up going with this park for far longer, but we'll see how it goes. You know, there's some habitats, you know, I might want to redo or rethink as well as we go forward. You know, like there's the anteater habitat here, which I think is pretty, like, it's nice, but I just never really, like, think about it very much. It just kind of exists, you know? So, maybe that's something for change in the future. I want to include the new lemur species that we got, the black and white rough lemur, so we might just put, split the population here a little bit, so we have half, red rough lemurs, half black and white rough lemurs. And, we might even have some work to do in the tropical house. Like, I like the tropical house, but I feel like we could do some nice, you know, some nice changes here and there just to make it look a little bit more interesting. But otherwise, yeah. So with that all said, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this slightly different video. Let's just go back to the alligator for a bit. Of course, there'll be cinematics at the end, as always. Let's click play, so you can watch them in their slow FPS glory. When I do a full tour, I'll make sure to like preload the game a little bit so that the FPS will be smooth once we get going with everything. They really aren't doing very much. The big guy's just crawling up here now very slowly. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. Thanks as always for the support. I know my videos have been a little bit like higgledy-piggledy for a while. Jurassic World Evolution 2 really kept me occupied. Not even making videos, I just got so like into the game that I just started playing it. I finished all the challenge modes and everything. There will be more videos on that as well, of course, coming soon. I'm going to do a tour of my first sandbox build, which I just did kind of off screen. And then, of course, there's going to be a new DLC, like, immediately, which is kind of crazy. I might make a video on that, just talking about my thoughts on it. Good thoughts, by the way. I'm just very excited for it. Yeah, that's it. So thanks so much for watching. Do you like the video? If you did like the video, please do subscribe as well. If you like this content and you want to see more Planet Zoo content. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye everyone.